Welcome to the OVAReact Podcast, proudly sponsored by Johnny Walker, a drink to be enjoyed in moderation and responsible drinking, not to be sold for persons under the age of 18.
In a society that tries to put women in a box,
let's overreact and overreact boldly. Today,
I'm feeling bold.
And it's your girl, Lush Angela, and I feel bold because I got my new head.
And it's your other host, Angelo and Boy, showing up boldly as a proud Kenyan woman.
Oh, I love it. Oh my God, yeah, you're rocking the colors.
You know.
I love it. And after the name, K Queen. No? KQ Queen.
Kenyan Queen. There we go. So this season, ladies, we are so excited because it's all about highlighting the epitome of what a progressive woman is, highlighting their journeys and how they're boldly taking their own steps to elevate women in their respective industries. So today we have a woman who is defying the odds in a typically male-dominated industry. We have none other than Sienna Dukowski, who is the director at Lady Ascari, which is an innovative female-oriented security company that is redefining the security industry one lady at a time.
Welcome. How are you feeling this morning? Feeling all right? What's your bold move? Like, how are you feeling? Are you feeling bold?
Well, I'm feeling bold because I'm here. This is my first podcast, so I'm glad to experience it with you guys.
I know, we're so happy to have you. And it's also nice to be around a woman progressively changing a scenario or an environment and an industry that's really focused and very male-oriented. Before I guess we get into the journey of how you found yourself in this couch, who was Sienna before and how did her path find her from America, the continent, and Kenya, right here in the heart city of Meru?
So my background is in hospitality management. I attended Cornell University with this dream of running restaurants around the world. But as I started to learn more about the industry, I realized that it wasn't for me, and I decided that I needed to seek my adventure. And so 4 months, actually less than 4 months after graduating from school, I found myself in South Sudan managing residential compounds where aid workers were living, and just being in such a vibrant environment of hopeful people coming back to build a country. And I just fell in love with the continent and, haven't been back to Brooklyn much since. But I actually found myself in Nairobi a few years later with the onset of the civil war in 2013. We evacuated from South Sudan, and we've been living here ever since. And nearly 4 years ago, we founded Lady Ascari with the idea that the security industry needs to be more approachable for all of the users. But in order for that to happen, we have to prioritize bringing more women into the industry and, more importantly, helping them to rise in the ranks so that we can have better solutions for everyone.
That was like a bold move for you, taking straight from college into South Sudan. Was it your first time?
It was.
That's very wild.
I mean, I spent a few days in Nairobi before.
Yeah. that doesn't count. No. It's not. And what would you say, like, in terms of just the environments, the difference, because you had spent, a good chunk of time in South Sudan, the difference between the two countries, operations, the security side of things?
So coming from New York to South Sudan, I really didn't know what to expect. But coming from South Sudan to Nairobi, I guess I expected like more of a city. And it was interesting because everybody was like, oh, you're moving to Nairobi, you have access to everything. I'm from New York. I had access to everything. And then I came here. So it actually took, for me, it almost took more getting used to Nairobi than it did South Sudan, just because where my expectations were. But here I am. I think that we've really managed to make this home even before we started before we started Lady Ascari. And we've been able to kind of grow this because this has become so.
So still we're celebrating a lot of firsts for women. And when it does come to this sector of security? I know a lot of times people may feel women are not strong enough for security. What are some hurdles that you all have faced when coming out with Lady Askari? Did you have a lot of people that were doubting the ability, and why women? Why focus on women?
So first of all, I think that people really just wanted to understand why. Why does it matter that we have women in the security space? What's the point? The security is security. But it all the seed was planted years ago with my husband. He's the actual security side of things. I still am the hospitality and customer service side. But, he was in Iraq doing diplomatic protection for an ambassador, a female ambassador, and she asked a simple question: what's going to happen when I have to go to the bathroom at this event? And, he had his answer, ma'am, we've already checked the bathrooms. There's a diplomatic bathroom. Everything is set for you. And she cut him off and she said, no. What's going to happen is you're going to go on the radio and you're going to call 53 men and tell them that I have to go to the bathroom. You're then going to send a man to the bathroom to clear out all of the women that are currently there. You're going to place a man at the door and a man at the window. And I want you to know that's uncomfortable. And so exactly. Yeah. And so at the end of the day, yeah, you may have had 54 of the best trained men on your team, but the service that they were providing was uncomfortable. And so how safe did she really feel in that experience? And he realized at that moment that if he had one woman on the team that could have escorted, that would have made the whole difference in terms of that experience. And so from there, we're trying to make sure we can answer that question: what is safety and security to you, me, you, and have those solutions. But we can't have the solutions without having. And so people are always pushing back, saying, and to answer the second part of your question in terms of perception of security, I know I don't look security, and that's okay, because I'm not here to bring the physicality to the table. Security is so diverse in terms of what the needs of people are, that there's a space for me just as much as there's this space for the typical big guy in the industry. We just have to let people understand that that space exists and let women take up that space.
Absolutely. And I think after we were trying to break down what is security, and we were talking about the small, and the first person that we meet is the Askari, the guy. So what Lady Askari is trying to do, can you maybe, for someone listening in, break it down what that security means to a girl, to a baby, to a woman, to the president, or even us as women who are doing what you're doing?
So first of all, as an organization, we recognize that the first thing that you think about are the Askaris, are the guards. We don't have any guards in our organization, and that's because security is so much more than that, and there's so much strategy involved. So whether it's, secure journey management, to the president being able to get from one place to another safely and understanding what the risks are in between and mapping out alternatives. So that could be safety to the president, whereas safety and security to me can be, getting home safely in my Uber, from a night out with friends to from the mother in me, it can be ensuring that my children are safe on the playground from predators. And that's the thing. Safety and security means so much. And a lot of it doesn't have to do with brute force. That has to do with understanding what the risks are and being able to have plans in place and mitigation measures in place. And that's something that I can do because, I think. Yeah, I don't have to rough somebody up in order to accomplish that.
Yeah, that's true. And just piggying back on what Angela was asking, like why women in your website, you need to check out Lady Askari website, and they have specifically said why women, because they're bad asses. So all of us here we're bad asses. So why is it that first that question is asked, and as a company, you have managed to get to the point where you're at 50% women. So how do you also change that narrative for women to not be seen just because I'm meek, right? Or if like we were saying earlier off, is like a woman typically who's a bodyguard or a security always looks like bulky, but not to say that she can run after someone, steals something from me. And how do we also now start to shift that narrative visually, I think, is the thing, because I think naturally we're seen more as nurturers and stuff. And how do we change that visually to the people you work with, and to either to me, maybe it's considering going into security, or to me who wants to hire someone in that space?
We don't change anything.
Okay.
We embrace the different qualities that women have that they can bring to the table. So I already mentioned I'm a mother, and I can be sitting here talking to you and hear a new type of cry, and that's a bad cry, That is what we're trying to exploit and bring to the forefront. Or, one of our best CPOs is maybe 5 feet tall. We know very well that she is mistaken for an assistant, and we want that because she's not a threat, and her job is not to jump in front of a bullet. Her job is to identify and mitigate risks. She has eyes, she has a brain, she's able to do that as she's moving with the client. And so it's not about changing anything. It's about embracing who we are as women. Those same qualities, they say, oh, women are gossips. A word, you mean women are really good at intel? Yes, we are.
Yeah.
You had that? Yeah. I asked it to that.
No, it's just about shifting the way we think about security and the way that we think about what is a benefit to security.
I'm going to use that.
Yes.
So I'm not running my mouth. I'm actually running your game.
Hey, drop my That's amazing. I love the shift in redefining a woman's power. All of our secret powers that we already have.
Yeah. And look at us sitting on this pretty textured, furniture from Organ Deco. I was talking about how I love texture. And also that's the beauty of us as women. And our proud sponsor, Johnny Walker, it's all about texture, the notes of sweetness. And we can be sweet and we can be badass. Yes. And just because I cry doesn't mean that I'm not strong, right? And that's one of the things I think that when it comes to just like retraining and shifting how we also view ourselves as women. Sometimes it might not always be the society's viewpoint. It might also be us. And leading up to outside of, ensuring that you're getting more security women out there, you also provide training and mentorship. Maybe it's about that.
Absolutely. So, you had asked before, how have we achieved the 50%? It's because we've been intentional about it. We're really looking for and really hunting for women who are in the industry that have an interest in the industry. And we're figuring out how to fill the skills gap, because we have to remember they may not have had opportunities to have the biggest, baddest jobs within the industry. So how do we get them there? So we do that through apprenticeships, mentorship program. Our mentorship program is it's called Data Quadrata, and it's about understanding what experiences we've all had as women in this industry and life that may have prevented us from moving forward, and understanding how we each navigated, what those challenges are. We've had some of the dopest conversations in those meetings, whether it's like we have a bunch of single mothers and their concerns that up at night are, where are the male influence for our children? And the cool thing is that Lady Oscar is full of allies. That other 50% is willing to step up and be a presence in their lives. Or within the security industry, they are quick to fire a pregnant woman, So instead of doing that, we empower them. And, upon their return from the maternity leave, we equip them with nursing packets. So they have breast pumps, nursing covers, cooler boxes, so that we're being intentional and saying, continue on your journey if that's what you want, and we will support you in that. And so all of our field sites have those. So it's things like that, being able to have this experience and not let these things that would typically bring women down have that kind of effect on our team.
I was I'll reveal my story. So off topic, I was just sharing a scenario when I was 16. and I was stalked for about a month. And I was saying how there's certain moments of impact, scenarios that you experience in life that kind of shift your senses or heighten your senses. What have been experiences where even you as a person, that your senses are heightened, and you're a mother, so you have kids. How do we heighten kids' senses to either understand that there's something not quite right in this room, not quite right with this person, like their spirit's off? And how do you also train that communication? Because I think because of the experiences that we have collectively gone through, just like using my experience of being stalked, you're now more aware if you hear the way you said like there's a bad cry, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're aware, that this is not fireworks, right? This is a little bit more different. So and that's just because of maybe personal experiences, or just people you're around, and you're just more frightened. If you see, how do you help people have more heightened senses, especially kids?
I think that having these conversations, and that's why Data Kodata is powerful, because we start talking about what the challenges are, what those experiences are. And so we do a lot of trainings. We do security awareness trainings. That's one of the biggest ones, but also personal protection trainings. We've done online child protection trainings. All of this is more so about having a conversation about the threats that are out there, so that you can have just one or two tips on how to deal with those tips. And so, as we had mentioned before, follow your gut. We tell our team members, we're not giving you any of that. Your gut is something that's built within you. But we implore on our learners to follow your gut. Listen to that instinct. It would rather be seen as an overreaction than some sort of put yourself in danger because you were like, no, I'm being weird too.
Yeah.
And so those are the types of conversations that we just love having. And we love having it with children and being able to just create the awareness of what danger may look like. So is it tricky people? Might be your neighbor. It might be somebody that you know well. How do you create those boundaries? How do you read body language? Is that a real smile, or is that disdain, sitting behind the eyes? And how do we adjust in order to face those sorts of things?
I absolutely love that. I think that thing of how to pay attention to the little details. Like when you're in the room, who walked in, what were they wearing? That, and just also, do you do that with your kids? She preaches water but drinks wine.
I definitely drink wine. But no, it's something that we've started working with the kids on more. Okay. And interestingly, we homeschool and we have our office in the same spaces where they learn. So they see the trainings that we're doing, and as we're prepping, they're part of our videos. Yeah, check out our website. You'll meet my kids. And so they are exposed to it in a lot of ways.
Okay.
So
and I think that's what they're calling it, intentional parenting.
Yes.
You have to teach your kids these tactics way before they go out in the world. And as I always say that that inner voice is always like your Bible. Do not defy. Always listen to it. It has worked for me. Something is off with this person. The vibe that, I was sharing, someone in my life says, when, a Kenyan is too friendly, there's a catch. Yeah. So what is that catch? Sasa madam, suniachie chai. That was the catch. Yeah. When they're too nice.
So Sienna, we love, you giving us insight into your journey and how it started, and the odds that you happened finding. So what is one monumental moment that you would call a bold moment in your journey? What is that one bold moment that really was a turning point for you?
As someone who really seeks adventure, I almost couldn't pin it down to one moment, because I believe that it's been a continuous I guess it's I'm kind of random. I'll go to South Sudan. Point it out on the map for me. Yeah. And so it's hard for me to pick one moment that really led me here.
Your life is bold.
My life is kind of bold, but actually, no, I think I've gotten a better answer. So I've actually was raised by bold women. I was raised by my mother, who, although she grew up in a two-parent household, her mother was incredibly bold. So back when people would take ships to the continent, my grandmother has been to Africa several times by ship with her sisters. And so in that time, that was very, very bold. And I think that being able to take those sorts of risks was instilled in a young age. And that's why when I said, hey, I want to go to South Sudan, my mom didn't. And my brother, on the other hand, you're sending Sienna to Africa to die. And, ridiculous. And my mom was like, get it together. It's fine, And so I think that I've been very fortunate to have boldness and really instilled in me and been able to see it in real life. And therefore, I've been able to make bold decisions.
I love it. Like when we were talking about women in our lives who have shaped who we are, you have gone back to your grandmother. And it's so, it's so powerful knowing that women who came before us, they have made who we are. So it's our space and our opportunity to create that pipeline and that bridge for the future generations. Absolutely. And love what you're doing. So in the spirit of sharing, women who have shaped who you are, who is your inspiration? Who is bold in your industry? Like, Lady Askari, I aspire to be that in the security space.
To be really honest with you, I never aspired to be anything in the security space. I kind of stumbled upon this. And unfortunately, I haven't necessarily found any mainstream security people that I really strive to be like. Mm-hmm. But there are women that have walked this journey. My friend Monica, she basically doesn't let me go. She's always telling me to raise my hand. She's the Secretary General of Women in Safety Excellence and just really pushes and encourages to ensure that, we're staying the course. So she's someone who I definitely admire her fortitude in dealing with this space, especially in the Kenyan security space.
So Johnny Walker is about bold flavors and it's something to enjoy when you're celebrating. Let's celebrate Lady Askari. What is a moment, either this year or since operation, that you're really proud, if success stories, want to celebrate that?
Well, I always feel like our mission is very important. Again, I'm not the security side of things, I'm the people side of things. So the fact that we've the 50% gender diversity, and we've been honored for that 3 years in a row, actually, that is absolutely that's my highlight, because that's the work that I really focus on, ensuring that we're getting the women in, we're helping them raise in the ranks, we're making sure that the women are able to take up space in the...
And, today's conversation and this season conversation is about a progressive portrayal, change, changing the narrative, breaking those stereotypes. So, well done to you. I think, ladies, what would be the thing that you're going to remember about this conversation and maybe you'll take forward? What would be just the importance of, keep walking in your journey. She took the leap of faith to come to Africa. And here she is, empowering and inspiring women. Even if you keep saying you're in the health people side, I think your work is phenomenal and what you're doing for women in the space. So I think that just keep walking, no matter, even if it's not your space, even if it's not your call, just keep walking.
I think one thing that I will take from Sienna's conversation is always knowing that. Mm-hmm. So the fact that you're like, okay, we're not trying to take a woman and change who she is, but we're just reminding her of the power that already lies within and honing in on those skills that you already have. It's not that our boldness or our power is something outside of us. It's always been within us. So just tap into it.
I think for me, what's memorable, and I asked you the question, how are you shaping and shifting viewpoints? And you said, no, we embrace people and how they come here. And I think a lot of us don't even embrace ourselves. Yes. We're always trying to fit ourselves into a societal box, right? Because society says you need to look like this, you need to just like this. So I like that's something that you embrace. For anyone who's listening, who perhaps is trying to break the mold, go in a different direction, not necessarily in security, or maybe even if they want to, what would be the last remarks you'd want them to remember, to keep walking and walking their own truth?
It's difficult, but you'll get there. Like, don't let people tell you that you can't do it and that you shouldn't be here. Take up the space and keep pushing.
So, keep walking. Keep walking. Thank you, Overreactors, for listening to us. And please just share quickly how they can learn more about Redefining.
We are on all socials, particularly on LinkedIn. LinkedIn. So definitely follow us if you're looking for security risk management solutions or just need somebody to help answer the question, what is safety to you or your organization or your loved ones? Find us on our social.
Love it. Amazing. We've definitely enjoyed this conversation, and we'd love for you guys to keep interacting with us. So you can follow us on all our social media at SisterSpeaks254 on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You can also follow Overreact on Instagram. And just keep connecting with us. This episode is available on SoundCloud, Capital FM, as well as Sister Speak Global on Google, Apple, and Spotify. And tune in next week, Wednesday, where we will have another bold woman sitting in this spot, telling us her story from 10 p.m.
And of course, this episode has been proudly sponsored by Johnny Walker, a bold drink to be enjoyed in moderation, not for persons under the age of 18. But we want you to drink responsibly, don't drink and drive, and don't drink more, drink better.
Hey, you heard. It's your girl, Momo Hoya. Thank you for tuning in. See you next Wednesday. It's your girl, Lash Angela. It's been a pleasure to be in the presence of Sienna.
It's your girl, Angela Mboy, and we just encourage you, continue walking boldly in your journey.
Ladies,
let's overreact.